Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Cook with Brooke, the cooking show that doesn't have any food. It's all about what's cooking at the Air Force Enlisted Village. So thank you for tuning in today. We've got some great guests coming on today. We're going to have our chaplains coming on. So we're going to have Father Toledo and Chaplain Beth will be here, and they'll talk about things that they're seeing with the congregation and just kind of the spiritual health of the Air Force Enlisted Village. So we're very happy for that. But before we get into that, I just want to talk a little bit about physical health at the Air Force Enlisted Village. You all have probably seen the number of cases of COVID are starting to creep back up again. For a while this summer, there were some really, really large numbers in the state of Florida, and then those tapered off dramatically down to about 2,000 new cases per day. And it was pretty level for about a month and a half. And then over the last couple weeks, we've started to see it creep back up again. So it's up to about 4,000 a day now. So the trend is unfortunately going up. So we just want to reemphasize again for you to do the right things and to try to maintain your social distance, wear a mask when you're out in public, making sure that you're washing your hands and covering your cough or your sneeze. It's a little more complicated, it seems now, because there's the normal illness that comes along with winter. You know, you have changing seasons and sinuses, and so just have to take that extra measure of precaution and be very, very careful. We've had a few people here on campus that have tested positive for the virus. We've had 3 staff members, 2 of which actually had symptoms. They've been home and on quarantine and will do so until they're released back in. Then one of the staff members is asymptomatic. And then we have 2 residents that have also been identified as having the virus. One with symptoms, one without. So again, we're managing that, we're controlling that, but it just should go to reinforce to you that even though we're in a very protected bubble and our gates are secure and our guards are helping us maintain the flow of traffic in and out, we have to be careful inside as well. You have to be looking about where you are, what the situation is. So please don't let your guard down. I mentioned in a resident council meeting not too long ago that the state of Florida is now looking at how they will distribute the vaccine. There's not a vaccine right now, but they are already working on establishing the process to do that, which is really great. They've identified 2 drugstores, CVS and Walgreens, that will do those vaccinations when they become available. We have already submitted our information to the state so that we're already listed there, and that is for all the residents of Bob Hope Village, the Hawthorne House, and all staff members. So we will be one of the first groups that will be identified to receive the vaccine. The top priority is senior living communities and schools. So we'll be right in that mix. So as soon as something comes available, we'll let you know. But again, we're posturing everything we can to do to be able to help bring that on just as soon as we possibly can. So again, we are very grateful to have Father Toledo and Chaplain Beth with us today. And I know that you guys have probably been missing out on my jokes. So I'm not going to fail you. I'm not going to let you down. I am going to go into a little bit of a pet angle. We've been talking about pets here on the Air Force Enlisted Village and the possibility of maybe someday having pets here on the village. So I thought, let me just bring on a couple dog jokes and share those with you. So what do you call a cold dog? A chili dog. I know, that one's good. And what do you get when you cross a dog and a calculator? You get a friend that you can count on. Get it? Okay. So that's the end of the humor, if you consider that humor. But again, I'm open. If you got jokes, you can send them to me. I'd be glad to include those in here. But before we go on any farther, let's go over and check out what Carrie has prepared at Knife's Edge, the menu coming up for the week ahead. We'll be right back. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. Hopefully you got a chance to check out that menu from Knife's Edge. Carrie and her team do a fantastic job over there. We're very lucky to have them. So please make sure that you go visit them and go do some eating over there at Knife's Edge. So now we have a tremendous honor. We have Father Toledo is here with us today, and he's going to share a little bit about himself and a little bit about what's happening over at the chapel. So Father Toledo, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you end up at Bob Hope Village?
Okay, I started here in August of 2006. I just retired from the Air Force after 22 years of serving active duty, and Buster has been calling me all the time when I was still in Oklahoma, my last base in Enid, Oklahoma. And of course, Chief Benneker hired me, and since then I've been here in the enlisted village, and I love my work here. I love the people, and just gorgeous people. I cannot say more, but they are just very lovely and very kind to me, and just and I like also the administration here. They are very nice to me as well. I just feel at home here. In fact, Chief Benneker was even inviting me to come over and live here, but I said no. I have my place in Niceville, and so I said I will just stay there and just come here to serve the people.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, that invitation's still open. If you want to change your mind, you're welcome to come live here anytime you want, Father Toledo.
Yeah. Okay.
So 2020 has been a very unusual year,
Right.
as we all know. Been very stressful for many people. What are some of the observations you have with your congregation and some of the challenges that they have faced? Because some of the people may not be involved in a church, and they may not have a spiritual leader or someone that they can talk to, so they may be feeling things that they're not really sure how to process those. So what are some of the things that you've discovered?
Well, the challenge really is because you cannot visit them. Every first Saturday of the month, I go to Hawthorne House to visit the sick there, but now I cannot do that because of this COVID, and of course, I still try my best to visit them in their houses, but social distancing, and you cannot really engage in talking to them more because you just don't have much the time, and of course you are very cautious of the situation. And of course we have some death, and it's very hard. You cannot talk to the family, at all. I know the family, but I cannot communicate to them because of these things that is happening right now. And so I try to do my prayers and just pray with them on the phone and things like that. But other than that, it's just so frustrating. So frustrating because you want to be close to them, you want to touch them, you want to, even the hospital, you cannot visit them. Even their families cannot visit them at all. And so just so hard.
Been very, very hard. Yes.
It really is.
Yeah. And so you were able to record some sermons earlier in the year before we were able to reopen the chapel, and you worked with Scarlett and
really
recorded some
really
sermons.
Thanks Scarlett for doing that, and because people has been asking me about it, and I said, what can I do, and then I think it was the chaplain here, retired chaplain, who said that well, we can arrange that, So I said, okay, do something about it, and I'm willing. I'm open to whatever suggestion you have that I can communicate to the people. And so he made this arrangement with the office there and with Scarlett, and I enjoyed that, giving communion at the parking lot and that. But still, people wanted to have more.
Yes.
Now we have the residents, and how I wish we can open also to the outside people. But still, we are in this COVID situation that it's still hard and difficult.
It is.
I really miss the people.
There's a lot of limitations.
Limitations,
and
right?
it doesn't look like that's changing anytime soon, but
Right.
of course we're always looking for ways that we can help people, and so as soon as we get an opportunity, we'll be back and we'll allow more people on the campus, and we're praying that there'll be a vaccine that's available soon,
Right.
and be able to
I also do, right?
be able to get back to a more normal life. So
Right.
and of course, the holidays are right around the corner.
Right.
Thanksgiving and
Thanksgiving,
always
Christmas,
good.
right.
So we look forward to that with you, and of
Right.
course, you've always
Sure,
been so good to us. So thank you for coming on and talking with us today.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Anything you'd like to share to the people that may be tuning in to us?
Well, I pray for all the people here at the village, and I wish I can be more and present to them. But because of this situation right now, what we can do is just pray, just leave everything to the Lord, and hopefully things will get better. But you are all in my prayers, because that's one thing that that's the only way that we can communicate to God and to one another. So I just remember that I'm here with you, and whatever I can do that is allowed to do, I'll be there. Okay?
Thank you, Father.
Thank
Toledo.
you.
All right, we'll be right back. Thank you for tuning in. Well, welcome back and happy birthday to all of our November babies out there. We hope that you have a great celebration this month. We now have the honor of having Chaplain Beth with us today, and she's going to share a little bit about herself and tell us a little bit about what's been happening over at the chapel here in Bob Hope Village. So Chaplain Beth, thank you so much for coming in and joining us today.
Well, thank you for inviting me to the kitchen, and other than church, this is my second favorite place to be. It's anybody's kitchen, anywhere. And baked some bread this morning, and that's one of the pleasures I have in life. It's very, very tactile and the fragrance and such of it. So
it's stealing my attention right now. I'll be checking it out later for sure.
Please do.
So, Chaplain Beth, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you've been here a couple years now, and how did you find yourself in Fort Walton Beach and connected to the Air Force Enlisted Village?
It's going to be 3 years. Last Sunday in December will be the third anniversary of my first sermon here.
Oh.
And the years have flown by. And Lord willing, more years to come, I hope. I retired from a 3-point rural congregation, actually 4, 3 where I preached and 1 where I did visitation ministry only, and in rural Ohio. And when I retired from that, I knew if I stayed in that community, it would be hard to break those ties, which were so loving, and we spent so many years together, more than a decade, and our lives were intertwined. So for the next pastor to be comfortable and accepted and not to be interfered with, I wouldn't have done it purposely, but just being there would have been enough.
Right.
I needed to get out of town, and I have 2 brothers retired here in Fort Walton Beach, Shalimar area, and so I was invited down to join them and to have family close by for the first time since the 1950s.
Wow.
I mean, there were 6 of us, and when we left home, some to be deployed overseas in the Air Force, Vietnam or elsewhere, to the mission field, to overseas ministry, to college, wherever it was that we all roamed quite a bit. And so when I came here, it turned out to be an answer to prayer, because I really didn't want to retire. I just didn't want to have that many congregations to take care of.
Wow.
And so God provided.
Well, and we're so blessed that you're here and you spend time with us. And 2020 has been a strange year, for sure, in many ways. And people have had to deal with the stress of it in different ways, and we focus a lot on wellness within the Enlisted Village, and there's obviously a physical and a mental and a social aspect to it, but the spiritual aspect is so important as well. So what have you seen as far as maybe spiritual needs of individuals that maybe you hadn't experienced before, or maybe that's been in greater need this year?
That's right. It's been a unique experience in my life. I'm almost at a loss for words, because it is still, but it was especially in those beginning months, so difficult, so challenging for all of us. In my ministry, all through the years, it was the way I was taught in my pastoral training, was that part of ministry is being tactile and being physically close to people, especially people who are sick or grieving or in emotional distress. And that was one part of ministry that was not safe to do, right, and not permitted. And it was so hard not to embrace the people who were tearful and so challenged emotionally and spiritually. It wasn't that we lost our faith or we didn't have faith in God, or that it's so community oriented. Our faith is community oriented, and we still had community, but we couldn't have the closeness we were used to. And so that joy of being close to each other and having that hug or having that arm around the shoulder or whatever it was, even the giving of communion in a personal kind of way was no longer permitted. And those were all adjustments we all had to make. But being as present as you can for people, you do the best you can. Right. So if it needed to be virtual, it was virtual. If it was standing at a distance, that was what it was. It was praying over the phone with someone, right, or standing at their door and sort of through the mask, praying a lot louder than I was used to and enunciating my words very carefully, because it gets muffled. But I'm so grateful that at least in our present time, we can at least gather in small groups, keeping our distance, but at least being together. And that's lifted everybody's spirits. I know it has.
It has, and that was one of the most difficult decisions that we made early on, was when we closed the campus, and then we had to start restricting the groups, which of course led us to stopping services in the chapel for a little while. So that was a very difficult decision. One of the things that we were in a hurry to change as soon as we possibly could. So we're glad that we're doing that. And I know that you did videos for a little while. You had your own video ministry, which is awesome.
Yeah, thank you for the congregation you gave me, Scarlett. That it was different, but it was better than not being together at all. And we weathered it. We got through it.
That's right. And we're so grateful that you've been able to help our community and to fill in the spiritual needs. What has been your sense that the biggest challenge has been? We talked a little bit about the lack of touch and tactile and being able to connect with people on that level. Any other things that you've seen, or anything that you'd like to kind of share with the people that may be watching?
Well, just that we're going through this as a community, and we're doing the very best we can to keep each other safe and well, and we have some wonderful prayer warriors on campus, people who are fervent in their prayers, and that is something that there's no restriction on. There's none at all. And time, place, our ability to be close or far away, all of that is not impaired at all. And so we can continue to pray earnestly, for all who are involved, the people here in our community, as well as people who are developing a vaccine, and people who are, like my son, he's one of the guinea pigs. He's one of the volunteers
really?
in the human trials.
Wow.
And all, for all the people involved, and our EMTs that come on campus when we need them, and
Aren't they amazing?
and people at Hawthorne House and all. So just continue to pray. That is not doing nothing. That's very powerful. It's not the last resort. It's really our first resort. And we can continue to do that for each other and for our community and nation.
That's right. Well, thank you for that, and again, thank you for serving our community. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Thank you.
We will have an opportunity to celebrate coming up over the holidays, which I know is going to be a fantastic time. And as we get closer to that, I'm sure we'll hear from you again. But again, thank you for coming on, and thank
You're
you
welcome.
for sharing. And if the individuals that are watching this wanted to get in contact with you, they can get in contact with you through the chapel?
Through the chapel, and my cell phone is never far from me. And I do return calls, and I'm grateful. I say it in chapel, but I say it also to people who are listening. If you know someone who has a need, whether they attend chapel or not,
Yes.
that to let me know. And I'm not perfect, and I don't always do things perfectly, and I make mistakes, but I will do my very best to respond.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you again for coming on. Thank you for serving our community. We look forward to continuing that. And we'll be back in just a second. Thank you again for tuning in, and thank you, Chaplain Beth, for being here.
You're welcome.
Okay, so that was just a reminder of our Great Friends Make Great Neighbors promotion that we have going on right now with resident referrals. So share the good news about what it is that we're doing, what a fantastic community that it is that we live in, and help recruit the new neighbors that are going to be coming in. Thank you so much for tuning in today and hearing a little bit about what's happening within the chapel and within the village here at Bob Hope Village and the Hawthorne House. Pastor Beth, Chaplain Beth, Father Toledo, thank you for coming on today. It was great having you and hearing some of your insights. And thank you, both of you, for praying for us, praying for our community. We're very blessed to have that spiritual component within our wellness program. Also along with that, of course, is the health and wellness of the entire community with the physical, mental, and social aspects of it. And of course, when you get into the social portion, we all love food, and so it's great having Carrie here on campus. In fact, she's going to be our guest on our next episode of Cook with Brooke, and she's going to give us a little bit of a head start on Thanksgiving, because we know that is right around the corner. So again, thank you very much for watching Cook with Brooke. Please be careful. Please stay safe. Stay healthy. If you need anything at all, please don't hesitate to reach out and let the staff member know what we can do to help you. We hope that you're all safe and healthy. God bless you all, and thank you again.